on to all of my Scorpios out there. Please make sure to get this book at Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com. The links will be in the description box below as usual. If you'd like to contact me for a personal reading, my email address as well as the prices are in the description box below. As usual, I am available to do personal readings today. Also, please make sure to drop a like. You know what I mean? It wouldn't really hurt at all. Please drop a like, drop a like, drop a like. I can't ask this enough. It'll help my channel grow as well as alert other people for the algorithm that I'm here so that more people can find me. So let's get into it. So the cards that I come up with for the Scorpios are the Eight of Pentacles. I am going to go back to 15 cards because I love doing this. So the Five of Wands, the Ten of Cups, the Four of Swords, the Nine of Swords, Three of Pentacles, Two of Wands, the Seven of Swords. Okay, no major arcana yet. All right. The Death card. There we go. The Ten of Swords, Four of Cups, because I know usually every reading has at least one major arcana in it. Nine of Wands, Knight of Swords, the Hierophant. Okay, there we go. And the Two of Swords. So what I'm seeing here for the Scorpios, you did get the Death card, which represents Scorpio. I am using the Dragon Tarot, which is my favorite deck. I've been wanting this deck for a long time. Eight of Pentacles, Five of Wands, Ten of Cups. There's a relationship that came to an end. Hold on. I want to close I'm not closed, but shut off. Yeah, so there was a relationship that came to an end quite abruptly, quite suddenly. The Eight of Pentacles, 8 represents build and destroy, Scorpio, right? As to where Cancer, Crabs represents build, right? 4, the home, 4 corners of the house. 8 can represent build and destroy something. So then you have the Ten of Cups, and the Ten of Cups represents you building and destroying a relationship, just not with the person that you may be with or you were with. And see, that's where the Four of Swords comes into play. The Four of Swords represents how now a lot of you Scorpios are kind of like, okay, well, now you're not in a relationship anymore. You're just going to go ahead and do your thing. But while you're doing your thing, you're just taking the time off to rest, rejuvenate, you know what I mean? Kind of clean your palate, so to speak, of being in relationships. Because the thing is that you don't want to jump in and out of relationships over and over and over again. Because not only do you end up losing yourself, but it ends up making you crazy, right? Like a lot of the times people who are serial daters, when they get out of one relationship, they end up getting themselves into another relationship immediately. And the reason for that is because, you know, they really don't want to be by themselves. But they're going to have to learn how to be by themselves if they really want a healthy, long-term, meaningful relationship. It's actually unhealthy for you to jump from relationship to relationship to relationship like that. Now, the Nine of Swords represents how a lot of you as well, you're so worried about whether or not you'll ever find someone that you can ever really be in love with, because quiet as it's kept, Scorpio wants someone to love too, even though Scorpio even though Scorpio will act tough. Scorpio, just like Sagittarius, will oftentimes get quite disappointed with the kind of partners that they are getting to know, because Scorpio wants someone that they can be proud of. Wink, wink, hint, hint, but they'll never tell you that out loud, though. You know what I mean? But the Three of Pentacles and the Two of Wands represents now how, but if you can get that person, then I just see how a lot of you Scorpios do plan, or you would give a lot to that person that, you know, you could really trust and have that sort of solemn connection with, right? The Two of Wands, it would just be you and them. So things would be good. Obviously not necessarily perfect, because nothing is perfect. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that it would be good, right? You would treat them with a certain level of respect. But the Seven of Swords, right? The Seven of Swords represents how you just don't want to get heartbroken again. And the Scorpio, I ain't even gonna lie, y'all. The Scorpios, y'all are gonna have to go through it, because all the even houses, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, they're the houses of crisis. And I'm not saying, and I'm a Virgo saying this, right? And I'm not saying that all the odd houses, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, aren't the house of crisis. What I'm saying is that one of the things that they do better than us, and I'm a Virgo saying this, is that they tend to do things with a certain level of purpose, as opposed to the crisis houses. We tend, especially if we're in a weakened state, we tend to beat ourselves up. So what I'm trying to show you is that when you're interacting, Ty, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got it. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. So, that's my dog. I just tied her back and she escaped. But anyway, she's an escape artist. But anyway, don't beat yourself up over this, because at the end of the day, you are gonna, you have to be willing to take risks, is basically what it is that I'm trying to get at. You have to be willing to take risks. Everyone does. Because if you don't, then you're not necessarily gonna get, where it is that you really want to be. Okay, now the Death card and the Ten of Swords represent something inside of you, Scorpios, is really going to have to change in a big way. And what's going to have to change is this over reservation that a lot of you Scorpios tend to have, right? Scorpios tend to be overly reserved, right? And that is what can mess them up. Because when they find themselves in a terrible situation or in a relationship that's going downhill, sometimes, almost all the time, Scorpios would be like, okay, I'm going to kind of step back from this situation. And that's where things can essentially go bad. Because when you just get yourselves out of a relationship, you want to spend time for yourself. And then when you're not hurting anymore emotionally, right? When you're not emotional anymore, then if you want to, you can decide to get back into the dating arena again. Now, the Four of Cups represents how if you want to be able to build something with someone, first and foremost, you're going to have to not be so emotional, right? You're going to have to get over the emotional roller coaster, so to speak, that you've been on with the other person that was dysfunctional before you can get back into the dating world. And then the Nine of Wands represents the Nine of Wands and the Knight of Swords. They both, now I don't have anything in front of me, right? I'm just going based upon what it is that I see. So, you know what I mean? If this doesn't necessarily link up to a whole bunch of you Scorpios, then it, you know what I mean? Then it means it's for a specific demographic. I'll just do another couple of tarot reading videos and stuff. You know, I'm not talking to each and every single Scorpio, Pisces, Aries on Earth when I do this. I'm talking to those specific ones that are that zodiac sign. But I could always just go ahead and make a new YouTube video. Maybe something will hit that particular target. But the Nine of Wands and the Knight of Swords represents how a lot of you Scorpios, once you learn how to not be so emotional, then you will find yourself in a situation where people will be interested and will come up to you and will say something to you a lot more often. Because the Nine of Wands represents how you may have someone who's a little bit beat up because they may be, you know what I mean, they understand how crazy the dating world is, but they're still willing to take that chance and come up to you and say something to you. The Hierophant and the Two of Swords, the Hierophant represents you have to make sure. See, people don't seem to, like, people like giving up their innocence. They like giving up their innocence. People like giving up, you know, people like putting smut on their name, right? People like putting dirt on their name, so to speak, where they're willing to find someone because of social standings and look, they're, you know, they're a king or a queen standing on the hill and everybody else is nothing but they're peasants or whatnot. But, you know, and putting on this act of the alpha and all this other type of stuff. But the Hierophant represents the understanding of how to be humble in that. Because at the end of the day, those people are dumb. What is it that you're really looking for a relationship for, Scorpio? Are you really looking for a relationship because you really want to get along with somebody and in the process go through an alchemical process with yourself of that's a learning process as to whom you are, right? Or do you want to, or do you, you know what I mean? Or do you want to be on some alpha stuff and the Two of Swords where the two of you end up clashing? So, because you're super guarded and whatever else problems you may have. So at the end of the day, ultimately the choice is yours as to how you are interacting in a relationship, right? Or when you're interacting with other people. So let's clarify the Hierophant, because that's one of the most important cards in this spread for you Scorpios whom this applies to. By the way, like I said, leave a like. I would really appreciate it. So you have the Ten of Swords, King of Pentacles, and then you have the Knight of Cups. So to clarify the Hierophant, the Ten of Swords, which we already have, right? The Ten of Swords represents learning how to let relationships, especially the terrible ones where you have to be in pain, go. You know, a lot of the time Scorpios aren't really happy until they're in a form of chaos around them. And to be honest with you, a lot of you Scorpios really have to watch that because it goes to a form of havoc, right? It becomes a form of havoc. And I'm going somewhere with this thing. Havoc and chaos are two different things. They are. Chaos is things seemingly to be a mess, but actually has some sort of underlining purpose. And havoc represents nihilism. If you're always trying to destroy everything that a person built, that's nihilism. Because what would be the point of that? The person, you know what I mean? You know, every 30 minutes, the water from the beach comes up on shore, washes the sand castle away. What is the point? So the Ten of Swords represents how you have to learn to let go of your pain. You have to learn how to let go of those things. You have to learn to confront those enemies that do that shadow work, right? We're going right back to it so that you're not so emotional when things happen to you. The King of Pentacles. You have to learn how to be a lot more cold. You have to learn to be a lot more focused, right? You have to learn to be a lot more calm in the situation, right? To show growth, right? Despite how much pain you're going through. And then the Knight of Cups. You also have to learn to see things from the perspective of you're winning, because if you and a person who is on some BS can't work, then that's a good thing, because it means that you want some BS, you know. And this is something that, you know, me personally, I had to learn 2 days ago. You know what I mean? Doing the shadow work myself, going down this rabbit hole, or going into this rabbit hole. Let's clarify the Death card. Why not? Let's clarify it. Let's do it. Let's clarify the Death card. The Eight of Cups. Build and destroy. The King of Swords. The Nine of Wands. So, the Eight of Cups, to clarify the Death card. Yes, building this relationship and destroying it to know what a relationship looks like. See, that's what I'm talking about for Scorpios. You see what I'm saying? The King of Swords, using your experience and your wisdom. You're supposed to use your experience and your wisdom in order for you to start making decisions. That's why enlightenment is made up of 3 different forms: knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Why? Because knowledge is the book smarts, what you've read in a book, right? What you've read in a book. Wisdom, okay, how you can relate it, how you can relate it to things in your life, right? In real life situations. And understanding, actually going out and practicing it and gaining the experience to then bring all 3, what you read in the book, the responsibility and carefulness, right? And the wisdom and the experience and everything that you've learned through experience together. That's what enlightenment is. So that's what it is that you're supposed to be learning. And then the thing is that the 9 of Wands represents when you learn how to be able to do that, a lot less people are going to be able to freak with you as far as people trying to manipulate you, because you're going to be on your P's and Q's. You're going to know what it is. You're going to have a better understanding of what you're doing. Like, for instance, whatever it is, I'm getting to know somebody or something like that, right? In a relation, whatever. I guess a short, I don't know, a month, I don't know, a short relationship, whatever it is that you want to call it. Whenever it is that I'm getting to know somebody, even my failures, right, I learn. And see, that's the reason why it is that I'm so wise when it comes to relationships, is because of my failures. I fail a lot in relationships because I realize that relationships are not what it is that they used to be. Like, it's not a form of peerage, right? And if go watch the video that I was talking about somewhere, talking about love and peerage, right? It's not a relationship based upon royal peerage, right? Where I'm royalty, I carry myself as royalty, and the other person who I'm getting with carries their self with dignity and respect and royalty and things of nature like that too. It's more on a level of one person is all over the place, and me, I'm striving to get it. I'm striving to get it together the best that I can. And one person wilding out. I do some things that you can say, thing, but I always own up to it, and I always look at it, and I always say to myself, what could I have done better? I shouldn't have done this. And that's the kind of experience that you're going to need. I learned even from my failures, because I realized that at the end of the day, it's not that I've really failed like that. What it is that, again, the dating scape has changed. So that's one thing that you're going to have to learn as well, Scorpio, amongst other things. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe. Peace.